joined with Mike Venezia on TradeGATEHub.com, and we're powered by TradeView Markets. So, Mike, the Fed minutes yesterday kind of put a little wet rag over the market, and today's ADP came in a little better than expected. So there's some pressure on rates affecting S&Ps, still in this sideways range here. I'd be very careful about being long anything if we take out 3760 for it to start proving itself to steady itself back over 39.5 would be helpful. But I really can't get positive about the market unless I have Apple closing back over 130. And actually, Apple's holding up pretty good today.
It's Microsoft is the one today, Coach. I'm sorry to interrupt your segue.
It was yesterday, too. Wasn't it down 10 yesterday?
That's correct.
Okay. Also, the dollar is making a January comeback here, which is pressuring precious metals. Gold still is the leader. I've been pointing out the gold-silver ratio for a while. We have it breaking out of a falling wedge that's near-term bearish for silver, and for the metals, I think that maybe we could get back up to 84. And I've been talking about $22 silver with a lot of confluence here. So I think that's going to be a buying opportunity between 22 and 21. So we'll see what happens going into tomorrow. Now that we have the NFP should be a pretty big number to see what the next near-term direction is. Curious what you're looking at, Mike, and what kind of stock selection, how you playing today. You playing defense. I know you're always looking for things that even in a bad tape, you always find things to buy. It amazes me, even though I've seen it for over a year now, that you always find these stocks that buck the trend on red tapes. And it's almost kind of like your specialty that you learn from Tim, that, I see you posted a lot. When the tape is red, buy what's green.
That's, normally that would be even more prevalent, but considering that things haven't been sticking as much in the rotation throughout my over 25 plus career, rotation has been more evident or in play, if you will, than it has in some time, if not ever. So that's, I have to keep the rotation, and with it just goes, it goes early. The price action or the price and the volume early usually tells the story of where they're going to rotate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like everybody sitting there at 940 and saying, all right, let's just go this way. It builds on a life of its own. And granted, we say that the longer term is a more trepidation about where the market will be, or having things stick in the portfolio, if you will. Great call on silver, down 2.5%. JUNG was at, now it's down another $2.50. I mean, that's hard to get back $2.50. I did sell a lot of it, but with that being said, is there always something to do. I am, I would say a 5-tool trader, but my greatest acumens are the ends of the spectrum, being a very active manager, coming up with a daily plan, which is evident all day long in the mornings and throughout the day on TradeGATEHub, and also seeing the bigger picture. Swing trading, and it's not really, hasn't been working. That's not really my type of style, because swing trading usually, at least in my opinion, is the basis of trying to either buck a trend or fight a trend and then letting it go. And certainly in these type of days, certainly the past couple of years, has not worked. So everybody's going to change their style and acclimate. You know what I mean? If you're a football player and it's raining out, put longer cleats on. You know what I mean? That's
all right. So speaking about style, Mike, a lot of people have been in defensive issues, and especially healthcare. That's all. Everyone loves healthcare. Isn't that sector a little bit too crowded, and most likely, crowded trades get unwound? Do you see it that way?
I saw it happening. Yes, I did. I saw it happening in a couple of healthcare stocks.
You've got the charts now to share.
Okay. And including United Healthcare yesterday, which I was chirping about.
Look at that.
I think United Healthcare, and we're going back longer than my daily chart persists, if you will, just because I was looking at longer. Let's go back to what normal. So that's UNH, you know what I mean? That, first of all, historically is an oversold category, but
It looks like
United,
silver.
what's that?
It looks like silver.
Well, I hope it
Same
certainly
type.
comes. I certainly hope it plays to fruition, like your call there. But United Healthcare these days is one of the. I think it's one of the top one, two, or three stocks that makes up comprises of the Indu. So I saw that
Okay.
happening yesterday. And when you have stocks like United Healthcare, that I consider that maybe one of the last to fall, if you will, not really
Yeah.
Apple. So I was looking at the healthcare sector yesterday. I was looking at the XLV, not that bad. Then I was short some ABC America source per, you know what I mean? But UNH was a warning sign for me. I don't know what it had to do with the Republicans and in Congress going back and forth yesterday. I'll have to do more research into that. But certainly healthcare is one that looked ominous, and UNH are not arguably being the best of breed. So I'm looking at that one. But certain stocks are hanging up good. Our Netflix is certainly acting well now. That they had a chance to take that down. Now it's breaking yesterday's now above yesterday's high. But there's always something to do. Certainly, I'll go to my screen here. The China stocks,
They're
uh,
still
P-
running.
all PDD yesterday. If you just want to go for stocks, I don't care what they do. If they make widgets, the stock yesterday had great news, price action, and volume. Even if you drew the downward trend line, and all you had to do is you had to be aware. Even if you were a little skittish, take out the new high, whatever that new high was, 93.21. When I was one of the beginning traders, I watched the stock all over there. Okay, then they put a buy stop, whatever, buy 400 shares,
Over the
PDD,
high, so the market just puts you
buy
in.
stop, and this was yesterday's high right here,
Okay.
whatever it was, right here. It's sat there, 92.76. It took out the stop, gave a little shake and bake, obviously, for the rookies to buy it on a buy stock. Then he panicked, and that was it. It went from where 92.80, a new stop, to 96. It's $4. It's a big move. Same with a lot of these
5%
others.
in a day. Yeah.
Same with other these stocks. EH, a small stock. There's BEKE. I mean, there's these are stocks that normally people have been short that they are still scrambling to cover. JD, another one, an inside day
Wow.
with huge range. Arbaba, certainly that was negative all day long, and they held it all day long, but that was eventually going to go positive. And the same thing with Bob. It wasn't a barn burner, but you could have did the same thing with all of them. A new stop yesterday, break high, and they all worked.
Right.
Another one, Data. I said everybody watch that one. Same thing. New high 1085. You buy stop 1085. But sometimes the more experienced traders like myself anticipate the move. So you're saying to myself, wow, I'm going to save myself 40 cents instead of putting a buy stop on Data at the new high here and getting filled. You got to anticipate around 1050. Then if it takes out a new high, whatever
You
it was,
press it. Would
at
you
10,
double up on
yeah,
that? Press
absolutely.
it?
Yeah, you
Okay.
do. And you let it back and fill and see how it rests. And then it's going to settle a little bit, and everybody's going to realize it broke high again. Then you take it from there. You know what I mean? It is a little stretched. As the AMD CEO is on CNBC now, as I'm being told. But here's the chart on the China stocks, and you say something's always moving, then they are. PDD, FUTU. Here's my screen here. YY, that I posted as a lotto play the other day right here at 34. It went to 38. I was on TGH. I didn't have to split the atom, but I do know it's a China stock, and I know it goes with these other ones. IQ was the first one out of all of them to pick up massive, massive bull sweeps. And for anybody that doesn't believe me, and I don't think they don't, I'm saying this as another segue as I sign into TradeGATEHub right here. Please, and I implore you, because we're wrong a lot of the times, but some of the times when we're right, we're really right. And one of the greatest amenities we have on TradeGATEHub, besides being free, is going back to the YouTube button, the red YouTube button. Go back all last week. This IQ, that's how you get there. IQ was the first one, and I'm telling you, I trade these things, and I'm saying they were doing the right calls. The right calls were massive calls. In this IQ, they started doing IQ right here. We would start taking huge volume, just like anytime it goes back and starts doing big volume out of nowhere, right here. Big volume out of nowhere, the move, and certainly big volume out of nowhere. IQ starting had huge calls going off around the whole number, around 5. Once it based
Yeah.
around that 5 and then settled and back and filled, if you will, it had more calls backing it up. And then there it is at 675.
You're way ahead of the curve on China stocks, Mike. Congratulations on that. Now it's becoming fashionable. Now people are saying, maybe I should be in China. They're calling it the easy trade because they're easing while we're tightening. But 40% later, they're coming in. Does that make you a little leery?
Well, so this is what it's, yes, it does, as a matter of fact. It's not his BZ, another one, this BZ, another stock. It's doing the same thing. Doesn't make a little bit leery. What I want to do is the same thing I want to happen with the market now. Flush them down to the 200-day to 20. I'm just using BZ. Oh, let's use a BABA as an example. All right. Flush it down, have something happen where it can test the strength instead of running away. I can add to it here only because I know I've been shorted sometimes and they still lawnmowered me. Always remember the biggest moves are usually made at the end of the move, right, coach?
Yeah, that's
So I'm not saying,
yeah.
the entry point here on the daily, maybe it's a little stretched, but maybe on the intraday it isn't. Buy these dips on intraday RSI. On the daily, keep in mind maybe Bob is a little stretched. JD, a little stretch. You want to come down to 61 from 65. You know what I mean? But on
Yeah.
the daily basis, maybe it's not. So trade it actively on the day. You got to keep an eye on a macro view because maybe the market's not just, there's always a place to run, maybe not that bullish on the market in general. But that's all I can say
Well,
about
we were negative and you were actually short XLE near the highs. And WTI, after having about a $10 rally from 72 to 81, 82, is almost back at retesting those lows at $73 trend line test. So I'm wondering what you're thinking here in XLE, that maybe the correction, it's actually held up pretty well considering what crude did. We were down $4. I mean, some of the ETFs, I think you were talking about, I don't know, Gush or
yes, I
one
did.
of them that was really getting hammered. Cold, maybe that was a natural gas one, but are you back on the long side of these? We were looking for about 80, and the low so far has been 82, and really holding up well this week considering what the underlying commodity has done.
You know what, coach? And I guess it's emblematic of what's going on in the market right now. XLE, I don't have a position. I don't really have an opinion on it. I believe it's coming down to individual stock picking and why. Here's a chart in the XLE. What was a former best of breed was acting well? Devon.
Devin,
I
yeah,
wouldn't touch it. Well below the moving
yeah,
average.
yeah,
Maybe
that
it
was a big.
pops. That's fine. But I look at something else like maybe an EOG acting a little better, still above the 200-day. Let me go to a couple of drillers that are acting well. Halliburton's on my list to buy at around what I think 38. Halliburton's right here.
Yeah,
Halliburton's on my list to buy. Certainly wouldn't short it.
no,
Maybe some other, BKR was taking a lot of sweeps for some time. BKR I might enter as a driller. I'm certainly not going to go on in CPE, which I was short here, or I'm not going to try to pick build a position in Marathon Oil, which is still a little ominous, or, a Marathon Oil is more of a macro play. It's basically going to go with the XLE just because it's that type of thick stock. But the XLE, just like any other, I'm going to be stock specific in sectors. Yeah.
okay,
Stock
so
specific. Yeah.
all right, so it's my belief that this pullback, this break in metals, is just corrective. So I'm wondering if you have a view on where you would like to buy these things. The guys on Fast Money were bullish gold yesterday when I saw them on TV. So
I hope they're buying it to these bastards. They need to look at this
yeah, so
HKD. You want to talk about an active stock? This
yeah,
is the one, HKD, a China stock. Open. See, I had this line right here. I wanted to see this open. It closed at 10. It opened at 1650. It back and filled and never broke the low of 1691. Now it's
wow.
37 on volume. There's
My God, it
always something.
reminds me of the dot-com era, these China stocks.
I bought something before I came on the air. What was it? Some
So
sec.
like I say in my streams, if you like to be an active trader and you're not just enamored with the indexes and the averages, and you want ideas every day, Mike has multiple ideas every day. I can't produce those unless I change my style, start looking at 15-minute time frames. So I've never seen a guy have a larger universe and every day is active. Rarely do I see Mike. I don't think I've ever seen him sit on his hands during a session. So if you're listening to this now
You call it the
and
crack pipe.
you don't have ideas every day, and you don't have to take every idea, but at least it's going to point your eye in the direction of something that you may want to do. all in one place. I don't think there's anyone out there in FinTwit or anywhere else on the financial scene that really has the grasp of a multitude of issues that I've never even heard of or thought of. And when I come in and Mike shows me these things, I'm constantly amazed.
Well, Coach, I appreciate that. And first of all, I'm highly trained. And then I ran with the ball. I was highly trained. I got lucky. Everybody could look at my dossier. Actually, I'm rewriting my bio today again. I was asked to do. So with that being said, listen, it's all predicated upon this, Coach. I didn't split the atom. I'm not a neurosurgeon. I didn't figure it out. There's not an algorithm that I'm hiding under my, it's all predicated upon, and it's still, thank God, relevant to this day. It's predicated upon this right here, or any one of these, stock scanner. Up high in relative volume. Here's a stock right here up on 2,000% volume. Well, I don't trade that one, but let's give another one. Western Digital. Well, KC, we're bringing that up. PDD, I brought up multiple times today. The stock is traded 200% volume. It's already up 5%. I already brought it up, PDD. So I should be, WNW. I brought up a bunch of these things. Riot, BABA. These are stocks that are up high in relative volume, down on high relative volume. Same thing. Let's go by here. So what I'm saying is CVS. I didn't know that broke. You know what I mean? Those are three keys that are timeless throughout Wall Street. Jeff, in reminiscence to a stock operator, all the way to Stevie Cohen. Stocks that have good price action, meaning, if Apple's up $1 and the market falls 300 points, for example, and it stays only up 90 cents, that's positive price action. Range, right. You want range because you don't want Bank of America to do a $4 billion secondary and have 300 million shares traded with a 20% range because it did a secondary.
You have a view on financials?
I'm sorry?
You have a view on financials?
I'm long JP Morgan. The only one I'm long is JP Morgan in the fund, and I'll tell you why. And it's really self-explanatory, and I should be. I'm long JP Morgan. I had a nice price in it yesterday from 1.3. I mean, I'm up in it nicely. Don't get me wrong. JP Morgan's the one I'm in. The Big Daddy is the one I'm looking at. Second. Goldman, which kind of looks like our marathon oil there from the last chart, but the one that's acting the best is JP Morgan. You know what I mean? Citibank I don't like because it's too international at this point. I can go to one of the other ones, Visa card, not really. MasterCard, not really. Capital One, not really. Wells Fargo, maybe, only because I still think it has many, many years of hangover, but as you can see, that's a laggard, so I'm not interested. So JP Morgan's really the one that I'm looking, that I'm interested the most in, Coach.
You know what? When I interviewed Adam Button here last time, he was talking about, with the new green wave coming energy and EVs, that there's just not, it takes so long and there's so many regulations that have to pass to open a lithium mine. No one wants to have a lithium mine in their neighborhood. Are there any issues that you follow in that space?
There are many of them. ADM break low. That's not good. There are many of them. Hold on a second. Let me go here. And you know what? I was upset. I'll give you, this was an example. Hold on. ADM, I have one. This was an example.
Archer Daniels.
I bought it. You know what? Look at this. I bought a bunch of it this morning. I'm going to tell you about a trade here. Do you want to talk? The market's going low here for some reason. Yeah. Sorry. Archer Daniel, there's my first buy this morning around what? 84?
Yeah.
84.52. Why did I buy Archer Daniel? Win, lose, or draw. Listen to this. I saw CF positive and Moss. Archer Daniel goes with it to a degree. I look at Archer Daniels on the long term. I said, all right, it's near the 200-day. I had it there. That's where I actually stopped on the 200-day. Then I went to the weekly when I'm trying to bottom fish something, the kiss of death, which not really is that positive a sign. I went to the weekly. It held the 50-day at that point. The 50-day, if you can see top left here, but my top was 84.10. So my trade this morning was around there, 84, whatever. I didn't think I was going to be early. 84.45, I bought a chunk of it, and I sold it where? 85.60. I actually top ticked it at that move because it did a print. I take moves on prints. Okay. So I sold a bunch of it at that print. I don't even know if it was me. So now I bought it back. I didn't buy it back as much. The second time around never really is the best trade. So I bought back 800 shares, I think, at 84.69. Now it's 83.76. Now I got to sell it because first of all, the market's going down. This is my long-term view on ADM. Now I'm not really sure why there's a gap here, right here. So now I have some cushion 83.80. Matter of fact, I'll buy 400 here at the market. How you doing?
Is
So I bought,
I was looking for when I was looking for a top in deer, we kind of have it, and then you brought up cat, and cat had one more move to the upside. I'm wondering how they look. There's deer, that doesn't look so good. So they're kind of related to Archer Daniels Midland,
yeah,
and there's cat's still hanging in there.
it is hanging in there. Deer. I was told this morning to short it. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
CVS had this. Walgreens had earnings. Now it's going. I mean, this is a one that, you know what I mean. This is a good example of something to do. Walgreens had earnings.
Wow.
And then all you had to do was break the opening. It was a trade. Break the opening rate. Let me get this line because I'm not real. Add line study, trend line. This is you have to listen. You can't catch everything, but once it broke that opening range of right here, that's when 35.50, 34.60. It's not that big of a barn burner, but once you get used to these things, maybe one day it will. So CVS was one that had earnings, price action, positive to the market. The market went up and it went down. Good range certainly from 37.50 to 34. Good range and fun. News. So the market's getting hit here hardly. Yeah. So that's it, Coach.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mike, for the update today, and sharing some of these different charts, and really congratulations on finding the only sector really performing. It was either China has been really, maybe some biotechs, but China's been the star, and
Has been
you
a
were ahead of
star.
the curve on that one.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. So listen, a lot of stocks, just SQQ, VIX is the mark, the spies. You know what? I'm sure you gave a good. I'll go back to your video at 9:30. I don't know what you talked about, but I'm sure you
I
addressed all
did
the
an
macro.
interview
Oh, you did. Oh, here's the
that
chart on
was with
SPY
Carly
now.
Garner.
Oh, you
Okay.
did. Oh, bro. Yeah. So here's a chart on the spies. I mean, here it
Yeah.
is. It's really self-explanatory on a
Yeah.
small turn chart.
Looks like a flag that
Oh,
will
well,
measure to new lows.
well, also, I will leave off with this because I have to go now because I can tell what's going on here. I'll go back to TradeGATEHub, and I did post this proper flag from a former guest of ours, Jake.
Aline.
Oh,
Who?
no, it was Jake of
Oh, Jake.
TrendSpy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
here's the chart on the SPY. Same thing. Now the flag came down here because we're lower. So
Yeah.
here's the flag posted, the bear flag.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? You got to be prudent, be tactical. And until then, just, you have to, don't go out of your style. This is not your style of picking things. Sit back. It's, there's plenty to do. And I'm not here to pontificate,
You
but
know, next week I have Doug Casey coming in, and
yeah.
you were in diapers when he was writing books like Crisis Investing in the 70s. I cut my teeth on Doug Casey's work. He's in Wikipedia.
Oh,
I asked a few guys that have interviewed him to introduce me, and I'm really looking for. It's like talking to someone that had a major influence in your life and your trading career that you've never met and only read. So mark your calendars for next Thursday to listen to Doug Casey, because instead of asking him what's similar to what we're going through now in the 1970s, to me, everyone's talked that to death. I want to know what's different than it was in the 70s, than the obvious stuff. So looking forward to that interview. Makes it fun to be in the game of educating people and bringing them intelligence like you provide every day here in TradeGATEHub, buddy.
well, I appreciate that, and touche as well, Coach. But the thing is, like I said, do some background research. The background research is going to the YouTube channel and looking at all our reviews. Write things down. We're accountable here. Everything it's in chronological order. There's no deleted videos. This is our verbal dossier. This is our DNA of what we do. So go back and go over the videos and get a running head start, get an idea of what we do. We're not really going outside the box here. There's a tremendous amount of financial instruments that we go over that are also offered at TradeView Markets. And we are here to not trade every one of them, but we definitely, including both of us, with our guests and with your guests, have a very high level opinion for you to devise a plan and go off of. So with that, just remember, it's a marathon, it's a sprint. I'm always learning. Be passionate, just like the rest of us, and focus, and we'll get you there eventually. So thank you for
Yeah.
tuning in, and we appreciate your time.
Yeah, fun to be in the zone with you, Mike.
It is.
I've been in the zone the last few weeks.
I know you have.
So
Bravo.
it's great to be when all the pistons are, really performing, and that's what we've been doing here for a year.
And
So
it has to do with focus. Oh, I have something moving nicely. It has to do with focus and having a plan. I'm telling you, the market has these moves because no one really knows. That's your advantage. Your advantage is that no one knows, and that's actually an edge on building your own style and having a plan. Trust me. So thank you very much.
okay, and for long minor entries, silver and gold entries, stay tuned.
Cheers. All right.
And don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, cheers,
See you
everyone.
later,
Thanks for
buddy.
sharing.